The coloring is so detailed, must have been pain to make. Yep, you are totally right, it was painful, like back pain level painful. That's why today is the perfect time to show you the coloring process behind this webtoon. And people aren't gonna claim it as AI generated, so you can feel the struggle yourself. But before we jump in, if you wanna check out the full result, you can read my webtoon Hexagon, and the link is down in the description. This video marks the transition from line art phase to coloring phase. But the part we are gonna focus on today is only up to shading stage, not the full finishing yet. So, what is the difference between shading and finishing? Let's take a look at these two examples. Shading is basically about adding shadow based on how the light hits character. Meanwhile, finishing goes further. It's add color grading, effect, texture, and that final touch that bring out the mood of the webtoon panel. And why do I separate shading from finishing? Because honestly, finishing is a whole different part. It's detailed, time-consuming, and deserves its own video. Alright, since most of you prefer things straight to the point, let's jump right into the first part, choosing your color palette. So I explain why picking a color palette is important? Well, the point is to match your color palette to your webtoon genre. For example, the webtoon I'm working on is a psychological drama set in a middle school. That's why I went for bright, soft tone to show the innocence of the character. Haha, yeah, innocence, right? But if your genre is different, like horror or thriller, don't copy my palette. Create your own color that can build that dark, tense atmosphere and give your readers chills. Still, that doesn't mean horror or thriller can have any color variety. It's all about color intentionally to control the mood, not just fill the panel. Okay, so here is how I build my color palette. First, we start with the base color. I'm picking it from this area right here, because I don't want the color I use later to be too saturated and hurt the eyes, or too gray to make the scene feel gloomy. Let's take this one as our base color. Now, time to decide the shading and the lighting color. When I pick a shading color, I don't just choose a darker version of the base color. I also shift the hue on the color wheel. Why? Because the hue shift makes your color looks more dynamic and keeps the viewer eyes from getting bored. Alright, here is how it works in practice. After choosing the base color, imagine splitting your color wheel into two halves, one for lighting and one for shading. Most likely to the left sides for shading, then pick a darker color tone for your base color. For lighting, move to the right side and pick the lighter one. And when you apply them together, it will look something like this. Before you start coloring your webtoon, make sure you have already prepared a color palette for each character. That way, when you are working on actual episode, your colors stay consistent and you don't end up forgetting which shades goes where. Once your color palette are ready, it's time to move on to the actual coloring technique. Now, keep in mind, not every webtoon artist color the same way, and the method I'm showing you here is not the only right way either. It's just the fastest one for me personally to hit my deadline. The first step is blocking. Blocking means filling your character with a single solid color, kind of like a marker to make the next step easier when you add the base color later on. I usually recommend using gray for this. Why gray? Because our eyes can distinguish gray tone more easily than other color. So, when you start adding base color for the skin, clothes, or hair later, it will be much easier to see the difference and the boundaries. That is the simple idea behind it. First, create a new folder and name it after the character you are coloring. Then, make a new layer inside that folder and rename it something like character name block. This will help you stay organized later on when you are moved to the next step. Next, let's set up the tool we are gonna use for blocking. We'll be using this one. It's called Close and Fill tool. This tool makes blocking super easy and you can even use it later for applying base color too. Alright, let me show you how to use it. So here is the folder for the line art and the panel, right? It looks like this. Now, I'm gonna mark that folder as reference layer. You will know it sets when you see the little icon appear. Once that's done, focus on the Close and Fill tool. Change the setting just like the one I'm showing here, and make sure the Refer Multiple option is set to Refer to Reference layer as well. If everything are ready, let's jump straight into applying the blocking. To use the Close and Fill tool, just draw area around your character, and yep, that's it. It instantly fills the block. If there are any part you miss or area that shouldn't be colored, just clean them up using the eraser, lasso tool, or even the bucket tool. Whatever works best to you, as long as that area is fixed. And that's it for the blocking phase. Once you are done, just repeat the same process for every character in each panel. Next up, we have got to the base color stage. This is where you simply apply the flat color for each part of your character. For this step, I divide everything into 3 folders: skin, clothing, and hair. So, from your previous character blocking layer, create 3 new folders with those categories. Rename them skin, clothes, and hair. Now, here is the most important part. Make sure each of these folders is set as clipping group to the blocking layer. That way, your color will stay neatly within the shapes of your character. After that, just create a new layer inside each folder to start applying your base color. You can use the same tool as before to speed things up. Or if you prefer, just use your own brush or even the bucket tool. The goal here is to keep the base color clean with no white gaps showing through like this one. The example on the right is what usually happens when you skip the blocking step earlier. Once every panel is filled with its base color, we move on to the next step, shading. Now, technically, you could just make a new layer above each base color. Set it as clipping group, pick your shading color, and color every part separately. But honestly, for me, that takes way too long. Here is how I do it instead. I make a new layer on top of entire coloring folder and set the blending mode to multiply. That way, I can set everything all at once. The skin, the clothes, and even the hair. So, what's next? I simply copy and paste that shading layer into each folder: hair, clothes, and skin. Then, I switch those duplicated layers back to normal mode and change the shading color according to my preset palette. Easy, right? This method saves a ton of time because you don't have to keep creating a new layer, color picking, or changing clipping group setting again and again. Just copy, paste, and done. Now, if anyone's wondering, I'm still confused about how to do cel shading or figure out where the shadows will fall. My answer is, focus on learning that part first. See, making a comic or webtoon is already combined a ton of different skills: perspective, gesture, expression, form, space, anatomy, light and shadow, texture, paneling, cinematography, storytelling, and more. So, yeah, you can learn shading while making your webtoon, but it will be harder to focus on just that, because you are juggling everything else at the same time. That said, learning shading while drawing your comic can actually be a great practice too, because every time your character move or scene shift, the lighting direction change and so does the shading. Different emotion, different lighting, different vibe. Here, take a look at this example. Same expression, but the shading direction change. See how it gives off a completely different mood? Alright, let's try a simple demo. Take this panel and start by marking where the light source is coming from, just so you don't forget. Simply put, if the light is coming from the right, then the shadow will fall on the opposite side. In theory, that sounds easy, but in practice, not so much. But try sticking that simple rule first, so your brain doesn't get overloaded thinking about complicated stuff like light intensity, reflection, or material surface. Keep it simple for now. The most important thing is, don't just throw darker color around the line art and call it shading. That's not just how it works. Honestly, the best way to learn how to draw is through observation. Even way back in the old days, painters learned by observing real models. So, if you want to understand light and shadow properly, the most effective way is to study from real-life references. And yep, that's the end of this shading piece, which also wrap up this video. So, what is next? Is it the finishing stage? Nope, not yet guys. Before we move on to the finishing, we need to complete the background first. Which means, here's the spoiler for next video. We are gonna build a 3D background in SketchUp for the webtoon, then export it to Clip Studio Paint. Alright, that's all for today's video. If you haven't seen the previous part about writing script and creating the storyboards, you can click the video link right over there. Thank you guys for watching. See you next time. Bye!